Hello and welcome. I am Oyiza Adaba. An underreported tragedy in a peaceful enclave in Plateau State, north central Nigeria, has claimed the lives of over 900 people from January to October of 2023 alone. From bandits' attacks on innocent villagers to land grabs and also a mining tragedy. The state of insecurity in Plateau State and the local government is beyond anybody's comprehension. On the 12th of August 2023, a 2-year-old girl and her 3-month-old baby brother were the only survivors of a deadly attack where a whole family of 17 were slaughtered in their sleep. Garlyn Foundation works mainly with the indigent people of this community in Plateau State, the victims and survivors of these herdsmen attacks. And with that, we have Judith Pam-Tok, who is here to discuss with us on her works in the community and the impact it has. Judith, you're welcome.
Thank you very much. I'm happy to be here.
Wonderful. So let's start with where you are in Abuja. You're based in Abuja, but you find
Yes,
yourself up and down on the roads, going up and down to Jos,
all the
to
time.
Plateau State specifically, which is
Yes.
where you're from, and also where there's a lot happening. So take us through what is happening and also what Garland Foundation is all about.
Yeah, okay. I think I better start with what Garlyn Foundation is all about, and then we can go to what's happening in Jos. Yeah, so Garlyn Foundation, it's a non-profit organization that is registered in Nigeria with the CAC. And we actually thought to register that to remember and immortalize my late sister and my late cousin, Garos and Linda. So, and yes, like you said earlier, I'm a fashion designer. I've been doing this for 29 years. Yes, and we saw the need to support women in Plateau State, in the rural areas, but starting with Plateau State and in Barakin Ladi, because certain local governments in Plateau State, have been suffering for over 20 years from 2001 till date. Killings by herdsmen and all sorts. So I felt the need to support my local community by empowering women with basic tailoring skills. And so that's how we started some 8 years ago. So we got a group of women, trained them, and then the moment, as soon as they started sewing well, they started earning stipends from whatever they made. So we have been doing that for a while now. We haven't stopped, we've continued. But anyone who knows Plateau State very well understands that Plateau State is pretty much what we call in Nigeria a civil service state. There isn't much business activity. And so we started training these women, and I'm happy because right now we have about 20 women at the moment who we have empowered and are earning money as they produce clothes for Garlyn Foundation. They were trained by Garlyn Foundation, and now they earn theirs. And some have actually even opened their own stores, and they're also training people. So those women I'm very happy and very, very proud of. Yes, and this year in September, that's just last month, we also opened a school, the Garlyn Foundation Leadership Academy in Heipang. Heipang is in Barakin Ladi local government. As a result of the insecurity in Plateau State, Heipang happens to be a place where a lot of IDPs, internally displaced persons, would run to. It's a kind of a safe haven, for some of these people. So over the years, Haipang has found itself, you know, always overwhelmed with IDPs. Once there's, crisis in any village, people all run to Haipang, seeking help. And over the years, a lot of them have actually even had to settle in Haipang. So there are children who have lost both parents, there are widows, there are, the situation is just really, really, really sad. And so we thought to support such families with quality education. And so we opened the Garlyn Foundation Leadership Academy in Heipang. It's just about 5 weeks old now.
So we've just been finished talking about what Garlin Foundation does, and especially in a place like Haipang. Now, can you give us an overview of w- what the conflicts are? We on this side of the world, and I'm sure many Nigerians, overlook this aspect. We don't even know what is happening. We're hearing about conflicts in other parts of the world in the news, but we don't know about this. So, can you take us through what has been happening? What has been the cause of some of these conflicts that you experience, that the region is experiencing?
Well, from my own perspective, the issues we're having is initially we thought there were herders and farmers clashes, but it's difficult to tell at this point because the last family that was murdered in Haipang on the 12th of August 2023, this is a family man who's not had any encounter, any personal encounter per se, with any herdsmen or their families, just going about his normal business. He's actually a mason who is also a Sunday school teacher in church. So I mean, but we woke up on the morning of the 12th of August, and this family had been killed. As a matter of fact, they were killed early hours of the morning. These days, you don't even take them to the mortuaries. They're buried. If a family, if it's a family of 5 or 10 or 20, they just bury all of them. No coffins, nothing. So even the dead, no dignity. I mean, these are poor people we're talking about. So if you have 10 members of a family that have been killed, how do you even start looking for the funds to even make coffins, to even bury them? So they just dig graves and just throw the bodies in there. And that's how it's been really.
It's truly heartbreaking what you're describing. And what is the government saying? And I know there are also vigilante activities around there to try to secure and protect these communities. How is that working out? And also, what is the law enforcement's input in all of this?
Well, I can't say categorically what's exactly what it is the government is doing, but all the time we hear them say, they're on top of the situation, they're going to do something about it. And sometimes, to be fair to the government, things kind of go quiet for a while. and then from nowhere you hear again, it's happening. So like I said earlier, a lot of us are just clueless, and because we're clueless, we're actually also very helpless, very vulnerable, because you don't even know where these attacks are going to come from next. So I'm not sure what the government is doing. I can't really say if they're doing anything or not, but we're clueless.
We also saw some reports with the community heads complaining that the police were called and they never arrived until after the fact, after the damage had
Absolutely.
been done.
Absolutely.
Um, so it's truly worrying and it's truly scary. And
Mhm.
we call on law enforcement. That is why it's called law enforcement out there, that is supposed to be protecting lives of innocent families and communities, to please use this as a call to do their duty and do their work. Judy, let's talk about the children that are impacted by all this. Your foundation, Garlyn Foundation, uh, just built a school block, like you said, and there's a lot of work in the and there's a lot of activity in the area.
Mhm.
Tell us a little bit about what your experience has been with these children, and what peculiar situations that we should know about regarding the children.
Okay. So, well, for the children, right now we have 43 children in the school, and not everybody in our school is indigent. That's because we cannot run the school, completely on charity. If everyone comes and does not pay tuition, we will not be able to run the school. And so we depend on, the fees being paid by those who can afford. We have people who are well to do in the community and can afford to pay their children's school fees. So not everyone in the community is poor, and not every child in the school is poor. So the children we have a couple of orphans, and of these orphans, some of them, their fathers died in the mining ponds. Plateau States, most indigenes of Plateau States, and especially in my local government, that's Barakin Ladi local government, people depend on illegal tin mining. And we've lost a lot of people to illegal tin mining. So we have some orphans of men who died in the mining pits. And then we also have children whose fathers were killed by these Fulani herdsmen. And in a family, there was this family where the man died and left a young woman with 7 children. The youngest is not up to 2, and the oldest is 18. So you can imagine. And this is a woman who, prior to this, she wasn't doing anything. All she was doing was, like I said earlier, most people are just subsistence farmers. They farm what they eat, and having 7 children and your husband gone, you can imagine how, you know, her situation would be like. And so we took 2 of her kids into our school, and those kids are on full scholarship right now. And of the 23 children that are on scholarship, some of them are on full scholarship, and some are on half scholarships, and like that.
And you ventured into farming. There was a need for that. Can you take us through what led to that, please?
Okay. Thank you very much, Oyiza. Yeah, so Garlyn Foundation is now also into farming. Because first of all, the objectives of Garlyn Foundation are one, to give quality education to indigent children, to also give nutritional feeding to indigent families, and then trade skills to indigent rural women and youths. So you see, like we had talked earlier, the empowerment, that's the trade skills, had been taken care of, and now the school. But the whole idea was that we're supposed to be feeding these children in school, but times are very hard. It's tough right now. And so Garlyn Foundation cannot afford to even proceed with the feeding program for the school. So we thought, why don't we actually start farming? Because if we farm the farm produce, depending on how much harvest we have, we could actually keep parts of the farm produce and sell part of it to be able to buy some of the foods, because they won't be eating the same food all the time. And then secondly, if we have a bountiful harvest, we would also be able to sell and be able to use the proceeds, from the sales of this farm produce to pay for the children's either books, uniforms, or even their tuition. So because life, like I said earlier, it's a tough time for everybody, and not everyone is willing to make that sacrifice of supporting a child in school. And we really do not wish to bother anyone, so would rather do the farming, sell the farm produce, and be able to use the funds to run the school.
I think it's really, impressive that you're able to tackle one problem, and while you're doing it, you find the need to cover all these loopholes, and you can you plug us back to fashion? How does fashion fit into all of what you're doing?
Okay. Okay, how fashion fits in is that remember that I told you how we pay these women stipends for the clothes they produce?
Hmm.
And so you're wondering, so what happens to the clothes after they produce them? What happens? So once in a while, we kind of organize fundraisers. So when we organize that, people come and they buy stuff. And so we have these dresses, lovely dresses we've produced. People buy them. So we also make money from the dresses, yes, the dresses these women have produced. And we use the funds. Then we used to use the funds to run the the center where the women learn. But now the funds are also still going to the school. A good chunk of those funds were used in the school projects, actually, as a matter of fact. So, and people who have known us over the years, there are some people who actually order these clothes during festive periods, for either some for their families, and others actually buy the clothes and donate them to orphanages. So we have a lot of clothes in stock right now, so much so. So that's how fashion fits into the whole Garlyn project.
To bring in fashion and to make it pay for what is considered a truly great cause. Um, I think one of the other things I'd like you to talk about is your engagement with Itai specifically, and Itinochi. I know that's just starting, but what has been your experience so far with working with the traditional Ibira cloth specifically, and then working with Itai?
Okay. Like working with Itai has been fantastic. I got to know about Itai not too long ago, and I am happy with the works they're doing in Ibira land. trying to keeping the tradition of the woven cloths alive. It's working very well. And those designs you guys Itai makes from Okene, they're really, really beautiful. Really beautiful. Recently, we made dresses that were used in an event recently in October, yes, early this month. And I was happy using those fabrics to design the different attires, the different dresses for that event. And I love the way the styles all came out nicely. And I think this is something that needs to be promoted. The Nigerian government, Kogi state government, and Nigerian government really needs to give Itai all the support, to make this bigger, because they're actually empowering these women in the villages. It's something that we should not allow to die.
I know that there's a fundraiser. How do you make money? I know you have the farm, you have all these projects that are supporting each other, but I gather that there's also a fundraiser. You're constantly raising funds. So can you put it out there to the audience and tell us how to support you?
Well, we raise funds because we need to support the women, we need to support the children, and then like to pay the school fees and all of that. So that's why we do the fundraising anyway. And there's hardly enough. And you see, in planning even the fundraisers, we spend a lot of money in planning the fundraisers. And so when we do these things, we expect that people would actually come support by buying this stuff. Very, very tough. And so we ask that whenever we have these fundraisers, we have stuff on our website. You can actually check us out and see. People can support us by buying what we're selling. They can buy these clothes and donate to other charities, to orphanages, give to children. Our clothes are good, and we have them in different categories. People can actually buy those for their children to use. I dare to say, yes. So they're good quality.
And we have been speaking with Judith Pam-Tok, who is the head of all of this, and she brings all of this together so nicely and so effortlessly. But we know we know what is behind it. It's not as effortless as it looks, but thankfully she's strong and well able to manage this. Thank you so much again, Judith, for your
Thank you
time, and
very
it's been
much.
great talking to
Thank you.
you.
Thank you very much, Oyiza. Thank you.